America, the country of dreams that become reality, where anyone can come on a boat one day and own a home just years later.
Well, not really. You see, while some people were having an amazing time in the United States, other communities were still being terribly oppressed and treated horribly. And here we are today, when even the families of the upper middle class are seeing the degradation, the decay, and the depression of living in the United States. As a matter of fact, 74% of Americans think that our country is headed in the wrong direction. And while just last year we were the 15th happiest country in the world, this year we're coming in at the 23rd spot. The people are getting sad, angry, and sick of our country. And even 3% of them right now are living in another country. They left. But the question is why are they leaving? In this episode of English Comprehensible Input, we're going to discuss just that. And a lot of the things that I'm going to say, you have probably never heard from another American. These are the conversations we have when we sit down at the dinner table, when nobody else is listening. Let's talk about it. Number 1, constant wars. Since World War II, the United States has invaded countries or started wars every 4 years. Every 4 years, there's a new invasion or start of a war. So there's almost always a part of the world that is being terrorized by the United States military. And while the US citizens, us, used to believe in the integrity of the US government, we don't anymore. We do not. Thanks to the internet, we have seen many videos of our military doing cruel, terrible things in other countries. I mean, since World War II, the US government has killed 4.7 million innocent people. Obviously, that's an estimate, a guess, because the US military doesn't count or care about how many children, women, and unarmed men they shoot and kill. And guess who pays for those bullets? We do, when we go to work. So how can I, as an American, love my country when it does such terrible things to other people? It's hard to. That's the answer. It's really hard to. Number 2, racial tensions and police brutality. Now, my opinion on this is going to be extremely polemic or controversial. It seems that every year CNN takes a case of a young black man being shot and killed by the police, and they blow up the story to make it look like we have a huge racism problem. From my perspective, it's them trying to cover up the fact that we have a gigantic police problem. Here is something nobody else is going to tell you. More white people are shot and killed by police every year than black people. Yep, they'll kill a white person too. Sometimes this surprises people to hear it, and I get it. The news wants you to think they only kill black people, and if you're white, nothing is ever gonna happen to you. That's just not the truth. The truth is, we live in a country where if you scare a policeman, he has the right to kill you. As long as he can go to court and say, I felt threatened, he will run free and continue being a police officer. Personally, when I was 15 years old, I had 7 cops run into my house and point their guns at me. After they threatened to kill me and they arrested me, they then realized that I was just the kid that lived there coming home from school. They thought that I was robbing my parents' house where I lived. Oopsie, am I right? Number 3 is work-life balance. Most people know that you make pretty good money in the United States, but not everybody knows how much you have to spend of that money. For example, after paying all of the bills and, healthcare, car, apartment or house, whatever, plus food, almost half of Americans don't even have $500 in their bank in case of an emergency. That means that if they need to get an MRI scan done tomorrow, nearly half of Americans won't be able to do that. Add this to the fact that the average full-time worker in the United States is working 47 hours a week, and you're gonna have some angry people. It makes you think, is it even worth it? Personally, I work 50 hours a week, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. While I don't have any real big bills, I have people I work with a couple of kids, a house payment, a car payment, and, all of the bills that come with having a family. And at the end of the week, their bank is almost in zero. Literally, one of my coworkers the other day said to me, I don't know how I'm going to get back to work tomorrow because I'm broke and I don't have enough to put gas in my car. This would get on anybody's nerves or would make anybody angry, especially when you're giving your whole life for a job and you can't even fill up your car. Now, let's talk about expensive healthcare. For starters, the cost of healthcare in the United States is incredibly elevated in comparison with other well-developed countries. This often leads to a lot of medical debt, meaning loans that people get that are hard to pay off because they don't make enough money. On top of that, there's a ton of Americans that either have bad insurance, meaning that they will have to pay a lot of money when they go to a doctor, hospital, etc. Or there's even people with no insurance, which means if they have a problem, they're going to be paying thousands of dollars, period. These factors combined create a sense of hopelessness for Americans. I mean, we were taught that this is the best country in the world, with all of the opportunities that you could imagine, and yet so many people can't even afford the healthcare that they need. Next, this is a big one I'm sure we all know about: gun violence. Just in 2022, there were 46 school shootings. That's almost a school shooting for every week of the year. How can parents feel safe sending their kids to a school knowing that their kid might get shot or traumatized because somebody shot one of their friends, shot a teacher, etc.? On the other hand, experiencing a shooting in school in the United States is not very probable, but just the thought that it's a possibility is extremely scary for many parents. And apart from school shootings, about 49,000 people were shot to death in the United States in 2020. Of course, this number does not include how many people were shot and survived, because that number would be much higher. To put this into perspective, in 2021, we were about on par, meaning on the same level as Palestine and Iraq when it comes to gun deaths. Next, let's talk about something that really kills us as Americans: high taxes. Instead of telling you some random facts, I'll tell you straight up. I am privileged to only pay 26% of my income to the government. A lot of people pay a lot more, some even up to 51%. Of course, I pay 26% of every dollar I make, and I pay 6% at least on every dollar that I spend. I mean, if you plan on getting rich one day in the United States, you can expect to pay around 50% of everything you earn. So, if you make $1 million, you'll get to keep $500,000. depending on where you live. Here's a quick summary of how the United States works. You are taxed to make money. You are taxed to spend money. The company that you work for is taxed to exist. You are taxed to buy a car and drive it on the roads that were built with your taxes. You're taxed to own a house. You're taxed to sell your house. You're taxed extra to live in whatever county or district you live in. And you'll even be taxed whenever you die. So yeah, enough said. Taxes are everywhere in this country. Sometimes it feels like you are taxed just to breathe, and that's somewhat true. And it makes it even worse when you don't think that the government is doing good things with your tax dollars. Yeah, that sucks. Next one is bad education. We have a terrible educational system. And I think that everybody around the world kind of knows this. From elementary school until high school, we're basically just taught propaganda and random things that we're not really going to need. The schools focus on creating a unity, a one type of person, instead of harnessing the talents that each kid has to offer. Often kids that are considered dumb or stupid will ask, why are we learning this? And the real answer is just so that you'll learn to take orders. And usually the people who do question things don't end up graduating high school because they're not the right kind of person to graduate these high schools. You see, these schools they try to create people that are too dumb to question things and are just smart enough to follow orders and complete simple tasks. Be employees, essentially. However, the lawyers, the politicians, every president, you'll never find that they went to a public school. Pretty much all of them have gone to private schools where they got a better education. I mean, if you are rich in the United States, you'd be dumb to put your kids in a public school. Next, we got the criminal justice situation in the United States. The USA is number 6 in having the most people incarcerated per capita. At this moment right now, 1 in every 200 people are in prison, and about 5% of all people in the United States will go to prison at least once in their life. This means that if you and your family are in the United States, the chances of one of your family members going to prison in your life is extremely high. This could be for not paying speeding tickets, cursing in public, doing anything that the cops can call disorderly conduct, selling raw milk, or even being wrongfully accused of public intoxication. I mean, again, the cops can do what they want. For example, if they think that you are intoxicated and you take a sobriety test and you show that you are not intoxicated, they can still arrest you and take you to jail and make you get blood work done, take your blood for tests to make sure that you really are clean, you really haven't done drugs. That's within their right. And the last one I got for you is a terrible food culture. On average, the US citizens here prefer convenience over quality. This is why we eat so much pizza and fast food in general. Like, if you want pizza, you go to Domino's, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, whatever. A fast food chain. A franchise is what they call them. Instead of going to a local pizza shop where it'll probably be tastier, of higher quality, we would prefer to go to Domino's. And again, if you want burgers, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, whatever. Anything but a local restaurant that will actually make a good burger. And this is partly because quality food is just so expensive here. For example, a fresh loaf of bread at my local bakery cost me about $7. However, If I'm in Walmart and I see a loaf of bread that, yeah, it's got chemicals in it, it doesn't taste right, the texture is weird, it'll be about $2.30. I mean, taking into account that nearly half of Americans don't have an extra $500 in their savings account, who is going to be willing to pay 1.5% of their total savings for a loaf of bread? I mean, this gets worse when we talk about meats. Every time I buy chicken, it's full of water. That's just how it works here. Rich people get the good chicken, and middle class and poor people get chicken that's injected with water so it makes it look like more chicken than it is. And it's disgusting. I mean, I'm not saying that other countries are perfect or that they're so much better. I'm just saying, when I was in Mexico, you didn't have to be rich to just get good chicken, normal chicken, that wasn't injected with water and whatever else that they put in it. So yeah, basically the most painful things for Americans right now are our constant wars, racial tensions or police brutality, terrible work-life balance, our expensive healthcare, the gun violence, the high taxes, the bad educational system, our bad criminal justice situation, and of course, the horrible food culture. Now, if you want me to make a video about the good things about my country, please let me know in the comments and I'll make that video too. It was a pleasure talking with you again. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.